Okay, good morning, everyone. Good morning, good Sunday morning today. Hope everyone's having a good weekend so far. Um, so I don't know if you can. I don't know if you can see. But I maybe got a little bit of sun yesterday. I was out at my daughter's school sports event, and I really wasn't out there for very long, but got a bit more UV exposure than I thought I would. Anyway, today we're going to talk about Google Maps and why your clinic is losing patients on Google Maps. But before we do that, if you could just type a one in the comment to just let me know that this streaming is going out okay and you can see me and hear me all right. So yes, so Google Maps. So I think a lot of people are using Google Maps. Actually, a surprising percentage of all searches, local searches, are done on Google Maps, and even in a world where more and more often people are using AI platforms like ChatGPT or Claude or Perplexity or something like that to find a local business. None of those AI platforms, as far as I'm aware, have a native mapping platform. And I mean, when was the last time you left a review for a business on Chat GPT? I don't think you can. So Google Maps has really got a monopoly almost on that type of on that type of service. So this is why Google Maps in particular are very important for local businesses. So before we get into it, so let me start off with the usual bold assumptions here. I'm assuming that you're here because you are the owner or manager, or planning to become the owner or manager soon of an optometry practice, an audiology practice, an ophthalmology practice, and you're interested in growing that practice. And just a heads up that if any of the ideas that we talk about today resonate with where you're at in your business right now, then by all means, please reach out to me and we can arrange a free one-on-one Zoom call to talk about that more if you like. So what are we going to learn today? Well, we're going to talk about why are clinics losing patients on Google Maps and what signals help clinics rank higher on Google Maps and how you can improve your Google Maps visibility quickly. But before that, so who am I? If you haven't visited one of my live streams before, so my name is Paul Salloway. I've been doing digital marketing and web consulting since back in 2008. And a few years ago, I started my agency, Optics Digital Marketing. We've helped more than 20 independent practices in Australia to grow their business. My agency team works with optometrists, ophthalmologists, and audiologists who need structured marketing systems to help them grow. And we have marketing plans for businesses at every stage of their growth. So a lot of what we're going to talk about today fits into what we call our foundation plan, which means like putting in place all of the basic foundational stuff before we even talk about running ads and that type of thing, getting the foundations right. So why are clinics losing patients? Well, I mentioned before that Google Maps is very important. Especially on mobile. Most people have got the Google Maps application on their smartphone. So if they're looking for something local, then they might often use that instead of doing a full Google search for it. Another important reason is Google pulls in the top 3 map listings into their organic search results. So if somebody is searching for, I don't know, like earwax removal near me or something like that in Google, so you're going to get a lot of stuff on that page. I mean, in the old days, Google search was very simple. You'd type a query and you'd get maybe a few ads, but then the 10 blue links. And so everyone was obsessed about getting on the first page of Google, getting in those top 10 results. they still are important. But if you look closely at today's Google um, search engine result pages, you'll still see the ads there, but you'll also see stuff like people also asked. You'll see sections in there people searched for. You'll see YouTube thumbnails. You'll see where Google is pulling in threads from Reddit and Quora. These kind of social media forums. So a lot of the organic stuff that we know and love is being pushed further down the page. However, the local Google Map Pack results, the top three results, they are still quite prominent, and they are very clickable. So people see that map pack block is very visual. You can see how many stars a local business has. You can see how many reviews they've received. So there's a lot of really important information there for somebody who's doing a local search. So those top three results are gold, really, if you can get into them. And Google does still keep them pretty close to the top of the page. And if you're outside of those top three results, if you're outside, if you're outside the first page of Google Maps results, then pretty much you're invisible for a lot of local searches. So clinics that have very few reviews, if they're not mentioned by other websites, if their Google business profile is inactive, then you will see those types of businesses disappear from these local Google Map search results. Another thing too is business hours are really important. So on your Google business profile, which we'll look at in a minute, it's really important to make sure that those business hours are correct and match the hours that you are actually open. So this has been tested and confirmed that Google will only show your business in the map results if people are doing searches during those business hours. And I've seen this myself, like with the tools that we use, where I can check a client's local search rankings in Google Maps at, say, 4 p.m. when they're open, and they'll be doing really well. And then I'll do the same search 2 hours later, 6 p.m. after they've closed, and they've dropped right out of sight. So, I mean, you can't have your clinic open 24/7. Be nice, but until we get to the day when everything's run robotically, I don't think that's reasonable. But just make sure that for the hours that you are open, that those are reflected accurately on your Google business profile, because Google is looking at those. So in a nutshell, Google needs strong evidence that your clinic exactly matches the service and the location which is being searched before you'll rank well in Google Maps. So it's in Google's help documentation, where they have actually said that Google uses 3 main local ranking pillars, and they are relevance, distance, and prominence. So what do those three things mean? Well, distance means simply how close is your clinic to the searcher. So like if you're in Coogee Beach in Sydney and you're searching for ophthalmologist near me, you're going to see a whole different set of results compared to if you were standing in, say, Parramatta and searching for ophthalmologist near me. So Google, can see the IP address, like they can see, the geographical coordinates of that IP address, and so any businesses that are near you geographically are going to get a boost. Prominence means reviews. Okay, so how prominent is your business on the internet? So how many reviews do you have? How frequently are you getting those reviews? Is your business being cited or mentioned by other businesses? Do you have links coming into your site, web links, particularly local links, okay, or links from local organizations? So it might even be something like your local footy club, right, giving you a backlink, or some maybe some other business that you've got some relationship with. If they can give you a link from their website, that all helps. And relevance. So if to use the example again, if I'm searching for something like dry eye treatment, dry eye treatment in Essendon, Melbourne. Okay, so if I've got a page on my website that talks about dry eye treatment in Essendon, right, I'm much more likely to get referenced in Google Map results, because I'm demonstrating that my service is very relevant to that person's search. Your Google business profile categories, okay, these are very important as well, especially the primary category, but you also get to choose some secondary categories, and they're all important. And we'll see a little later, so how you can check those and how you can make sure those are correct. Keywords in patient reviews, okay. So when somebody leaves a review for you on your Google business profile, if they leave a review that says something like John was great at my ortho-care contact lens fitting, okay, now Google can see that you are relevant for that search if somebody's searching for ortho-keratology. And I have actually seen as well where Google will pull in a section of a patient's comments and use that in that 3-pack listing. So they'll have like the name of your business, and then they pull in a little snippet from the patient's review. So if patients do that, it's really valuable. Now you can't exactly coach people in what you want them to write in your reviews, and you shouldn't. But I think you can sort of like leave a subtle hint that if you could just mention, something about your service today, that would be great for helping out our business to support the local community. So there are sort of like ways that you can maybe tip the scales a little bit in your favor. Social media, like, so recently there has been some evidence come out that Google does look at your social media feeds and connects that to your Google business profile. There are actually sections now on your Google business profile where you can put in the URLs, like your Facebook page, your Instagram, your YouTube channel, and there is evidence now that Google actually looks at those things, and it helps them to determine the relevance of the service that you provide. So if you've got a social media feed, and you should, on your Facebook page, if you're posting like photos of your staff and the things happening in your clinic, celebrating anniversaries of your opening, that sort of thing, that's all wonderful, and I totally think that's a good idea. Those types of posts tend to get a lot of engagement. But I do think you also need to have posts on there which talk directly about the types of services that you offer, because that's going to influence your Google Maps rankings. So in a nutshell, distance, proximity is hard to influence unless you go opening like second clinics in different parts of the city. It's probably not something that you're going to easily be able to rectify, but prominence and relevance certainly are improvable. These are certainly things that are within your scope of control. So how can you improve your Google Maps visibility fast? Well, I think probably the most important thing that you can do is put in place some type of Google review collection system. And I believe I've talked about this before, but with some clients that we work with, that were struggling with reviews. We were able to talk about putting in place a system whereby patients are prompted to leave those reviews. Okay, and there are ways. There are some ways that are better than others in going about that. I won't get too much into the weeds in this presentation, but it's important to have some kind of system in place, right? Just sitting back hoping that patients leave a review, that's not a system. Okay, you're going to lose that way. So, and the review velocity matters as well. So, like I have seen where businesses have got like 100 reviews like 3 years ago and then suddenly stopped. So, for one thing, that looks really suspicious to Google. It kind of looks as if you paid for those reviews, which you should not ever do. But what Google wants to see is like a steady stream of reviews, like every month, every week. That says to them that you've got an active, trustworthy business going on. Respond to every review. I mean, this is a free kick. You should be responding to all reviews, even the bad ones. And if you're getting enough reviews, then inevitably you'll get a few bad ones. I'd say if you've never had a bad review, then you're probably not getting enough reviews. Okay, statistically, it's probable that at some point you're going to get some sketchy reviews. So the key here is that even the bad ones are an opportunity for you to demonstrate your professionalism. So it's important, I think, to respond to all of them and respond promptly. Make sure you choose your GBP categories. Okay, so especially the primary one, but also the secondary GBP categories. So, for example, for optometrists, so optometrist is obviously that's the primary category that you should have. But there are secondary categories like contact lens supplier, glasses store, eye care clinic. There's a few others that you can add in there as well. So add all the ones that are relevant. Don't pick anything that's irrelevant. That's just going to confuse the algorithm. Make sure your address is spot on. Okay, like even like down to the letter. So the address that you have on your website should exactly match what's on your Google business profile. And in fact, I would say if you're a business, if you're registered with ASIC, the Australian Business Registrar System, I think you should exactly match that to your ASIC record, because when it comes time to run ads, you're going to need to provide Google with a copy of your ASIC certificate, and they're going to look at that, whatever the address is on that certificate. If your address is out of date on ASIC, then I recommend that you update that as soon as you can. Make sure your hours are correct. Photos, you can upload photos to your Google business profile. Really good thing to do. If you got any like old photos of old staff on there, you can go ahead and delete them. Make sure that your Google business profile is being updated, and that all of the photos on there are, sort of relevant and people who actually work in the business now. Make sure your social profiles are up to date. So as I mentioned, you can directly link your Google business profile to those socials. So you want to do that. I mentioned, make sure that you are mentioning the services that you offer in your social feeds. You can build local authority through directories. So things like Chamber of Commerce, like if you're part of that, I think, which is probably a really good thing to get involved with. But if you can get a link from them to your website, that really helps. The local Chamber of Commerce, any other local businesses. We do have there are directories out there that you can list your business on for free. And I've actually got a list of 50 Australian business directories where you can register your business for free. So that 50 links basically, and I think that's really helpful as well. That's also giving a lot of trust signals to Google. So if you want that list, then reach out to me, send me a direct message, or leave a comment, and I'll share that page with you. So directories like Yelp, what's it called? Word of mouth is a local directory. That's actually the name of the directory. True Local, I think. Even things like Bing Places, Apple Maps, all of these things. They're just free kicks. There's an opportunity there for you to get a listing. Local backlinks I've talked about, like your local cricket club, your local hockey club. Even there's some cultural organizations, like one of our clients. He sponsors what is it? It's a piano. Every year they run a piano competition, and they were looking for sponsors for that, and so he became a sponsor. And in fact, they invited him to come along and give a short presentation, which is another benefit of sponsoring a local group. Is yes, you get some sort of a backlink, which is what we're talking about here, which is really helpful for your digital marketing efforts. They will also, if it's like a local sports group, they will probably have a Facebook page and a members newsletter. More than likely, they're going to mention you in that. Again, that helps. And most of these types of sponsorships come with a invitation to some sort of annual event, like a dinner or some sort of face-to-face thing, which is an opportunity for you to do some in-person networking, which is always helpful. I've had even clients who were invited to give a short workshop to the club members, like I think it was a cricket club, before the season started, about getting eye tests, checking that they can see the ball clearly and track the ball through, when they're playing the game and that sort of thing. So sponsorships come with a lot of local benefits, and I highly recommend them. It's something that we do for our clients, is help to arrange that. So once a week, make a Google update posts, right? So I'll show you in just a second. So how you can do that. Keep them brief though, right? So don't think of these as blog posts. Don't think of these as social media. Really, they're just ads. So a Google update post is essentially just a free advertising for you. And best practice with these is to keep them to 120 characters, I believe. So you'll get an opportunity to upload a nice image promoting what you do. Leave a short caption below, right? And so you want to do these. You want to do these pretty often. I think weekly is a good cadence for these. So when somebody's looking at your Google business profile, they're probably pretty far down the buyer funnel. They're probably in a stage where they're ready to take action. So you don't really want to use your Google update post to inform them about one of your team members just had a birthday. What you want to use your Google update post to do is inform that potential patient that you offer, for example, like dry eye treatment, that if you're an optometrist, or that you offer like hearing aid tuning if you're an audiologist, or that you offer laser corrective vision procedures if you're an ophthalmologist. So this is how you should be using them. So in addition to the update posts, photos, I see again and again when I look at clients' Google business profiles and look at the photos, the last photo that was updated was, December 2022 or something. So again, it's a free kick, right? So, and I always advise my clients, why not get a staff member? We've all got phones these days. We've all got smartphones. So delegate a staff member and tell that person, look, your job is once a week, give me a photo that I can put on our Google business profile. And it really could be anything. Literally could be anything. It could be a photo of like, some new frames you've got in your practice there. Could be just a photo of the front door, could be a photo of some equipment that you've got, maybe a photo of a couple of staff members. So, um, photo of what the place looks like from outside on the street. Don't overthink it, but regularly updating photos is really good for showing Google that you have an active business. Videos, I think it's up to 30 seconds. You can upload a up to 30-second video to your Google business profile as well. And we all know how impactful videos can be. Products. This is something that I think most people are sleeping on. If you're selling physical products like glasses, hearing aids, then you can upload those and showcase them on your Google business profile, right? So I think, and they get shown quite prominently. I believe it even above your Google update post. So that's a really good opportunity right there. So I mentioned, like, you can do all of these things on your Google business profile. What does your Google business profile look like if you haven't checked that out, or if you haven't looked at it in a while? So to get to this screen that you're seeing now, what you need to do is be logged into your Google account, your Google business profile, and actually search the name of your business. Okay, so it could be like ABC Eye Care. And when you search that, you should see this thing at the top of the screen. It'll say your business, and it has all these menu options. So that first one there, edit profile, this is where you can go in and check that you have the right categories listed, that sort of thing. Make sure that your business hours are correct, your address is correct. I'd start right there and just make sure all those details are correct. The next one, read reviews. This is where you can look at the reviews that your patients have left and respond to these. Photos, right, self-explanatory. Posts, this is the Google business updates I talked about. Performance, this is where you'll see some statistics related to how your Google business profile is doing. Advertise. I probably wouldn't worry too much about that one. So you can, and of course it is a good idea to run Google ads. I'm not saying that, but probably I wouldn't use this option for doing it. You'll notice, you may have noticed that the profile strength there, it's almost 100%. When you get to 100%, it would turn green. But the reason it's not 100% in this case is because Google wants you to advertise with it. And if you were to run ads, then you would get that green check mark. But yeah, it's a bit sketchy, but I wouldn't do it through here. If you're going to do Google ads, do it properly, create a Google ads account. And we'll talk more about that in another video. Edit products. I talked about how, you can upload your glasses, hearing aids, etc. Edit the services that you offer. So there is actually a place where you can list any custom services that you might offer. We'll look at that on the next screen. Bookings, that's where you'd put in like a link to your whatever booking system you're using. So if you're using HotDoc or My Health First, then you can drop the URL in there, and then you get that nice book online button, this blue button that appears on your Google business profile. When people click that, they go directly to your booking form. I think that's a good idea. So ask for reviews. So if you're looking for a link, or if you want to share a link with your patients on how they can leave a review, this is where you get it. There's one place you can get it. And profiles, that's just if you've got multiple Google accounts, then you can switch between them. So that's all that is. So I said that you can add some custom services. So I'm not sure whether you can see that, but on this pop-up screen, so if you've got some kind of service, you can type it directly in here. So for example, like IPL intense pulsed light dry assessment, dry eye treatment. So that's something that you could type in as a service and add it to your profile. This one's got blepharospasm and Mastroda eyelid massage. Okay, so these are all things that are like not part of any drop-down list in Google, but you can type them and create them and add them to your profile that way. All right, so the final thought I want to leave you with here is that clinics that win on Google Maps are the ones that consistently send Google the strongest local trust signals. This is what Google's looking for. Like I said, you can't really influence proximity very much unless you open additional stores, but you do have direct control over the relevance and prominence. So pay attention to your Google business profile, get those reviews in, pay attention to your website, create these local pages, like optometrist in Neutral Bay, optometrist runaway bay on the Gold Coast, this type of thing. So when you create those pages, then that definitely helps. And we have tools available which we use to track like how well you're doing in these Google Map listings. All right, so we'll leave it there. So if you want to reach out to me to talk about any of the things that I've discussed today, then the way to do it is visit our website at opticsdigital.net, or you can reach out to me directly through LinkedIn, or you can email me. I'm Paul at opticsdigital.net. Just a reminder that I have that list of 50 local businesses, which I'm happy to share with you if you want to go ahead and get all these directory listings, which I think, it's really a no-brainer. It's something that everyone should be doing is getting themselves listed on as many of these free business directories as possible. All right, so let's wrap up there. So thanks again, and I hope you enjoy your Sunday, and we'll see you next time. Bye for now.